In today's video, we're going to talk about negative mental compounding. Just quick before we start, I have a sale running on my academy and my community packages. If you want to join either, the link is in the description. If you use the code SS30 at checkout, you will get 30% off whichever package you choose. Now let's get into the video. Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. I hope you're doing well. Hope you've had a profitable week this week. In today's video, I want to talk about a psychology-based topic of trading, and this is going to be negative mental compounding. When you make poor decisions in your trading and you end up making a mistake, or taking some losses because of those decisions, it can then lead on negatively into your mind, and you can actually continue making mistakes either by hesitation, revenge trading, or many of the different pitfalls that we can fall into as traders. So the concept of negative mental compounding basically refers to the continuation of mistakes and the continuation of irrational trading based on previous mistakes made. So here's a little presentation I've put together on negative mental compounding, just to introduce you to what we're going to cover in today's video. When mistakes are made in your trading, whether this is trading against the trend, trading against your original plan, over trading, over risking, any of these things, when these mistakes are made, your mindset is going to be affected negatively. This can often then lead into your next trades subliminally without you even realizing. And this is going to cause even further mistakes and even further chaos in your trading. Now, obviously, as professionals, we need to limit negative mental compounding, and we also need to limit the amount of mistakes that we make. Unfortunately, you're never going to stop making mistakes in your trading. Not to say you're going to take them all the time, but mistakes will come in every now and then, as we are only human. Over time, you'll reduce the frequency of serious mistakes, which is obviously brilliant. And to do that, you need to understand the concept of negative mental compounding and know how to work around it. So what I'm going to do now is show you an example of last week's trades, and then I'm going to show you how this has negatively compounded into this week and caused me to miss a big opportunity. Now, fortunately, I'm quite far through in my trading journey now, and it's easier for me to cut out serious mistakes. So I haven't actually taken any further losses as a result of negative mental compounding, but it has given me some hesitation, and it did cause me to miss quite a nice big trade. What you can see here on the chart is my last week's trading performance. 3 trades on Euro USD. Now, this is all I took last week. I had one big winner over here. That was quite nice. That was actually around 4.7R. Then that was followed by 2 losses. So I had this loss here and this loss here. Now, these 2 losses were actually mistake trades. This one I fought my original plan and sold into an up move. And this I brought after I was planning to sell. So these were total mistakes. I went against the trend and I forgot my earlier week plan. I didn't really stay in tune with things. So these mistakes obviously then led to negative mental compounding. And it's not even the fact that I only lost 2R, because this is not a big loss and it was well covered by the previous winning trade, but it's the fact that I broke my rules and I went against my original plan. And I could have actually bagged a very big profit on this buy up and a very big profit on the sell down from this point, because this is what I had planned previously. So this hit my psyche a little bit negatively last week and caused some of that negative mental compounding that I've been talking about, which then led into this week. And by the way, I'm not going to go too in depth on these. The previous video I posted last Friday covers all of these trades. So if you want to see the breakdown of this win and these 2 losses, head back and watch that one. But now let's get into this week and I'll show you the mistake that I made as a result of that bad compounded mindset. What you see on the screen here is a trade that I missed last week. Now, the worst thing about this is I didn't miss it. I got in, but then I got out at break even and then it ran 10R. Now, this trade I planned up earlier in the week, and basically I was looking to follow price from this area after this break of structure to bring down towards this level at 1.14135. As you can see, it triggered in nicely, didn't make a new high, and then sold all the way off to the lows and would have hit the target for 10R profit. Now, that is a very big profit, definitely not something that you want to miss out on. Now, unfortunately, when price hit my entry point with momentum, I decided to get out of this trade for free, right, for break even. And then my plan was to get in it a little bit further down. The problem is, nothing had really changed. Even though the momentum was looking strong, and it did make me a little bit nervous, and it would in any instance where the market is looking that strong, the risk was predefined, and it's not a big risk, okay? This is just a standard risk trade. It would have been totally fine to hold this and allow it to either win or lose. And this is where the negative mental compounding played its role. Because last week I had those 2 mistakes, I subliminally didn't want to make another mistake of fighting momentum. So unfortunately, I got out of this position, and then I never got that re-entry chance that I was looking for to get back in. This actually led me to miss a 10R move over the fear of hitting a 1R loss, which I am never usually fearful of taking. It's more so an ego-driven fact that I didn't want to take another loss. I didn't want to make a 3rd mistake. And in the process of trying to avoid the 3rd mistake, I actually made the 3rd mistake come to life. And that was getting out of this trade, even though price had not made a new high. I should have accepted the risk of the 1R loss and held this. Even though momentum pushed a little bit stronger, the structure was all in my favor and the plan actually worked out exactly how I wanted it to. It was just that initial panic here that made me get out of this position and miss out on this big move. So as we can see, my negative mental compounding is not too bad. Yes, I missed out on a big position, but the market's going to continue to give me new big positions, okay? This is not the end of the world. It's unfortunate and it's a little bit frustrating that I didn't manage to stay in this movement and that I actually missed out on this large profit. But my negative mental compounding is under control to a point where I'm not going to start taking revenge trades. I'm not going to start firing into any old position. I've actually stayed flat for most of the week, waiting and kind of giving myself a little bit of time to recover from the frustrations before trying to get back into the markets and taking silly risks. So this miss right here is the perfect display of negative mental compounding in full effect. I took 2 mistakes last week. I took 2R losses on those. I actually ended up profitable overall with that previous winning trade, but then this week I've ended up missing out on a very big trade because I was worried about making another mistake. Had I breezed through last week, there was no chance I would have closed this versus the momentum. I would have just left this running and allowed either that 1R loss to come in, or as it turns out, the 10R profit to roll in as well. So it's only because of the results of last week that put me off taking this trade with full confidence and actually ended up making me miss such a large profit. So there's a couple of things we can take from this. No matter how far through your journey you are still going to run into this negative mental compounding, and sometimes you are going to make psychological issues trying to avoid what your mind might perceive as mistakes. And the other thing to learn from this video is that if we can limit the effects of the negative mental compounding, we are going to be much better off than the traders who cannot do that. So it's definitely something to focus on, and it's actually something that I've never ever heard anyone speaking about before, but I've seen many students, myself, and many of the traders that I know run into this consistently. Now, what I did here was obviously a mistake on closing the trade out, but it was well done if we think about it subjectively. Now, consider what many other traders might have done if they'd made this same mistake. They got out the trade here, then when it started reversing, they might start piling in shorts. They might start taking shorts, at the lows of these moves with tight stops. Now, obviously, in this instance, had a trader piled on shorts with a kind of FOMO attitude, it might have worked out quite nicely. But there wasn't really a logical entry, at least under my system, for me to do that. In many instances, if you are FOMOing into this trade and piling on shorts after the market has started downturning, a lot of the times it could just come back up. So if you're selling then, and you continue selling because you can't let go of the bias, because you're feeling the fear of missing out, and you continue selling into any movements that happen in the market, it's not always going to work out so nicely for you. A lot of the time, it's actually going to go against you and you can take a lot of losses. Another thing that many people might do is after missing this trade, start hunting for the profits elsewhere and taking silly trades, hoping to recover some of this missed profit. As we know, uncalculated, irrational trades like that are the detriment to many traders' accounts and can totally blow up your funded account, your live account, whatever it is that you're trading. Furthermore, making further mistakes is just going to add to the negative mental compounding and cause you to make even bigger mistakes until your account is in ground zero. So although I've made these mistakes, they were minor mistakes really, and they're definitely something you can learn from. You need to try and limit the negative effects of your mistakes and make sure that you can move forward rationally without chasing profits, without chasing missed opportunities, and without holding on to major frustrations. So how can we reduce the effects of negative mental compounding? There are a few ways we can do this. I'm going to go through the key 4. Number 1 is slow down and review. This is the first thing you should do after you've realized you've made mistakes in your trading. Last week when I took those 2 losses, I didn't think much of them until I slowed down and reviewed them. I journal all my trades, which is another point we'll get to soon, and this is what allowed me to actually look back and realize the mistakes I'd made. At this point, rather than firing into the market on Friday, I decided to slow it down. I reviewed the mistakes that I'd made. I did a little bit of back testing. I ran through my original start of week plan, which would have been very profitable. And then I decided, okay, I'll start trading again next week when I've had some time to kind of slow down, ease off the frustrations, and prepare my mind for a new week of trading. So following on from that point, you can take a break. This is going to help you to kind of realign with your systems and reboost your confidence and your rational thinking. It's not always necessary to take a break after you've made a mistake. If you made a mistake that's really hit you hard mentally or financially, this is when you should definitely take a break, because if you're trying to deal with a big loss or a bad mindset and you're trying to trade through that, that is almost certainly going to cause more damage and add to your negative mind. So taking a break after significantly large setbacks, either mental setbacks or trading setbacks, is definitely worth doing. If you have something that's playing on your mind, take a few days off, take a week off, and just kind of refresh, realign, do some back testing, get in line with your plan, and come back when you're feeling clear-headed and confident. Kind of taking this back to the first point, journaling your trades is going to help you a lot. If you journal every trade you take, this is how you can actually then review them. If you don't journal any of your trades, it's hard to review and see if you made mistakes. And at this point, you might just think you're a terrible trader and that you've got no chance. Now, if you journal, you'll pick up on the mistakes you've made and you'll realize that, okay, maybe these were mistakes and they shouldn't have been taken, and I would have been a better trader had I not taken them. But your journaling gives you a chance to look back on your trades, identify the mistakes, and reduce those and limit those in the future. Now, as well as journaling your actual physical trades, you should be journaling your mindset as well. I have a daily trading report that I fill out each day, and this covers my mindset, my processes, and how I was feeling throughout the day of trading. By journaling my mindset like this, I can pick up on issues and mistakes that I've made due to, for example, hesitation or fear, or even fear of missing out. Or if I'm feeling frustrated from previous losses or previous missed opportunities, I'll mark that down so that I know going forward I shouldn't be rushing into trades because I still have this negative mental feeling over me. When you journal your mindset, you pick up on your bad traits and you can learn to limit those in the same way you can limit technical mistakes in your trading. So those are the 4 key ways that you can limit and reduce negative mental compounding. I hope this video has been beneficial to you in some way and got you thinking about this concept that no one ever talks about. We all talk about the importance of mindset in trading, but no one really ever talks about the link between future and previous mistakes in your work. If you can learn from every mistake you make and you can pick up on that and you can give yourself time to refresh and remove the frustrations out of your mind, you're going to do much better than if you are just firing into trades straight after making mistakes and straight after taking losses. In my opinion, negative mental compounding is a very real thing, and I'm sure most of you will probably agree when you think about how it may have had an effect upon your personal trading. So keep this in mind, start journaling your trades, and when you realize that you've made mistakes, take a little bit of time to refresh, realign with your systems, and learn from the mistakes that you've made. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please do let me know what you thought of it in the comments below, and drop a like if you don't mind. That's going to help this to reach more people. And if you want to learn from me personally, head over to the link in the description. The summer sale is probably going to be running for most of September and closing after that. So if you want to join my community or my trading academy, you can do that with quite a nice discount right now. So once again, I hope this video has been valuable to you. Thank you for watching, thank you for listening, and I will see you in the next one.